Welcome to the R.E.A.L. Academy, brought to you each Saturday at 10:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time by the
Systems DoctHers,
Dr. Sheka Houston and Dr. Tammy Taylor, best-selling authors, consultants, and speakers of Create and Educate LLC. Create and Educate LLC is an educational consultant and literary firm that provides professional development to schools and community. Their goal is to transform organizations with the R.E.A.L. Resilient Framework used to increase their school report card grades 2 and 3 grade levels in 1 year. R.E.A.L. stands for Respect, Excellence, Accountability, Literacy, and Leadership. This framework is used to coach leaders and teachers and build student efficacy while putting systems in place that aligns the work of the school improvement, making the process manageable. When the work is manageable, teachers and leaders don't stress out or burn out.
The Systems DoctHers
Alignment systems are designed to help schools evolve and grow, all while instituting protocols and processes designed to promote collaboration and collegiality. The implementation of the alignment framework prevents some of the most common problems in education, where leaders sometimes aren't sure where to start, or in our new age of educating, leaders need a trusted sounding board that allows them to be vulnerable and transparent, preventing loneliness at the top. The framework doesn't just help leaders, but also prevents teachers from burning out from too many initiatives and embracing teachers as they are the experts. Finally, the framework extends to the children, helping them get engaged in school and solving a nationwide problem. Alignment systems are frequently referred to as a key element of success in the improvement process. In the sport of rowing, all rowers must put their oars in the water, succinctly creating a system for their boat to reach maximum speed. So schools that want to improve are bringing in
the Systems DoctHers
to teach them all about the alignment systems that must be in place for school improvement to be accomplished at high levels. The dynamic duo provides insights into educational topics through their international platform, which includes educators, parents, and community members as a way to support important entities that make communities thrive. This is their way to pay it forward and provide the support they needed through their platform. Take a look. People who work with the
Systems DoctHers
describe them as an excellent and inspiring group of leaders. They get into the weeds of work with leaders through their TrustMate Institute that you should contact them about today by filling out the contact form on their website.
Happy New Year, everyone. Welcome to the R.E.A.L. Academy, brought to you by Create and Educate with your very own Systems DoctHers, HERS. I am Dr. Sheka Houston.
Good morning, and I am Dr. Tammy Taylor. Welcome, everybody.
Yes, welcome. Good morning, Tammy.
Good morning, Sheka. How are you?
I am elated. We are happy to be bringing you our first New Year's episode, which is a Leadership TrustMate Edition episode.
Yes.
We're pre-recorded because we are actually at the She Energized Retreat in Jacksonville, Florida with our sister, Roxy Hall, and we're doing a Build My Sister event there as well. So we could not leave you hanging, of course. We are bringing you Dr. Joe Griffin, who is going to be telling us all about his framework that helps leaders. And you know, this aligns exactly with what we do each Saturday, helping you understand school improvement leadership with our leadership framework that you see at the top of the screen. But we will enjoy speaking with him and seeing how his framework even is related to our framework. So without further ado, we're going to bring up Dr. Joe Griffin, and we are going to get started.
Yes, welcome, Dr. Griffin.
Thank you. How you all doing today?
Very humbled to have you with us. So thank you for joining us.
Appreciate the invite.
Most definitely. So Tammy's going to read your bio.
Yes, I am ecstatic. As Sheka said before, we are so happy to have you as our first guest of the 2025 new year. So, without further ado, I will introduce to some of you Dr. Joe Griffin. And Dr. Joe Griffin is a speaker, educational consultant, and author with over 23 years of experience at all levels of K 12 education and more than a decade as a college professor. Griffin has a proven track record in school improvement, successfully turning around 5 schools. Notably, he moved a high school from a D to its first B rating in history in the first year, maintaining that success for 4 consecutive years. Dr. Griffin also prepared a school for state takeover, led one out of takeover status, raised performance by 20% in 3 subject areas in 1 year at another school, and improved another from one of the state's top 15 worst to a successful rating in 3 years. Wow, congratulations on that.
Mm-hmm.
He believes in the superpower of teamwork and collaboration to achieve a shared vision of success. Born and raised in Clarksdale, Mississippi, the real home of the blues, Dr. Griffin overcame the challenges of a single parent home, gang influence, and racial tension to achieve his dream of playing college basketball. Now based in Los Angeles, California, he is a certified global DNA leadership coach, keynote speaker, and professional development presenter. Dr. Griffin has been blessed to earn awards such as Administrator of the Year, Outstanding Leadership Award, and the Delta Sigma Theta Red Education Development Award. Colleges that Dr. Griffin has attended include HBCU Kahoma Community College, one of only 10 2-year HBCUs, Belhaven College University, Delta State University, and the University of Southern Mississippi for his specialist and doctoral studies. Dr. Griffin believes in the potential for everyone to succeed and is dedicated to empowering educational communities to create systems of collaboration that work and last. All students should have access to knowledge no matter where one comes from, because everyone deserves that chance.
Wow, that is phenomenal. Welcome, Dr. Griffin. And while Dr. Griffin is speaking to us about his framework, if you hear something that he says that resonates with you, drop a speak in the comments. And we know that we're going to see a lot of speak because we know that Dr. Griffin from his own show can definitely bring the fire. So I know I said there weren't going to be any questions, but I just thought of one. I'm a very random person. So, how did you get from Mississippi all the way over to the West Coast?
Well, I started my career as Mississippi, as you just stated, and had a lot of success. And at the moment where I felt like there was time for a change, I had some different circumstances that touched on me and got an opportunity to move out to California. And I decided to go with it. I took it and I've been living it ever since, and just been trying to continue to empower educators and leaders. And I appreciate that wonderful introduction. I was thinking to myself, is that me when you were reading it? So I thank you for that, Dr. Taylor.
That is you, and we're thankful to have you. As I said before, we're very humbled to be able to sit under your tutelage this morning. So we are going to ask everybody to get your pen and paper and get ready for a fabulous ride.
Yes. So tell us about your framework.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. So at Joe Griffin Global, we try to empower educational leaders through a variety of concepts. And we start with our 3x3 sense leadership framework for school improvement. You notice the pillars are, of course, instructional leadership. That's the foundation, cultural leadership, as well as organizational leadership. And in the middle of all of that, you notice that love and respect for all. Nothing happens without that. And then on the foundational pieces, you'll notice that connection leads to empowerment. Empowerment leads to collaboration. Connection, we establish connection through a variety of processes, but the overarching themes are individuality and diversity. You can't expect to respect individuality if you're not honoring diversity, and vice versa. You can't honor diversity if you're not respecting people's individuality. So it's important that we go in as leaders and as educators with these concepts in mind. Secondly, the empowerment piece. When we're moving from connection, building those relationships, to empowering others, you're talking about creating an atmosphere that provides belonging and acceptance. Again, I don't feel as if I belong unless you've already accepted me, and vice versa. The only way that I can feel as if I'm accepted, as if there's a sense of belonging in the atmosphere, is created through your vision, through your purpose, through what you do every single day as leaders and as educators. And of course, connection leads to empowerment, and empowerment leads to collaboration. And this is the foundational piece of all of it, because we do more with each other than we could ever do alone. And collaboration stands on the principles of commitment and accountability. And I know that accountability is also one of the things that you all tout as well. But commitment, you don't get a commitment unless there are measures of accountability in place.
That's right.
Vice versa. With measures of accountability, they provide me an avenue to make the commitment that I need. And we know that as adults, without that commitment piece, nothing happens. And the overall arching theme is to know that collaboration is a journey, not a one-time event. It's intentional, not random. And it's a mindset, not a strategy. So journey, intentionality, and mindset, that basically encompasses the 3x3 sense leadership model. And we have a number of strategies that we help leaders and teachers implement so that they can be successful in their schools.
We love that, Dr. Griffin. And like you said, that hits every system that we have, the system of respect, systems of excellence, as well as systems of accountability. So this is very much relatable to the framework and the systems that we help people with as well. You talked about that commitment piece, and a lot of times, you know, the way things are going right now in education, we talk a lot about how things have shifted. There used to be a time where, you know, there were a plethora of people, you know, vowing to get into being a teacher. And so now that that has shifted, it's gone from us interviewing people to more or less them interviewing us, you know, to see what we have to offer. And sometimes I hear leaders talk about how getting people to commit now is a little bit different than it used to be, because now the sentiment is, well, if I don't do this, who are you going to have? You know, because people know that there's nobody knocking down the doors. So what is it? What ways do you help leaders get the people that we need on board to put these improvement systems in place? How do you help them, get them to commit?
First off, we got to understand that leadership is influence. Leadership is about, it's not necessarily persuasion, but it's about persuasion. It's about being able to help those people that you're leading move in a direction to accomplish a shared vision. So that's the basic premise. You have to start with, again, building that connection off. Once you get that connection, now I'm able to better work with you, better communicate with you. I better understand your preferences, your communication styles. All of that matters when trying to get a team on board or trying to move a ship in a direction. And that's important to make sure that you, again, establish that connection. That connection leads to empowerment and us being empowered. That's us actually being able to start the process of doing the work. And then the collaboration piece is when we actually doing the work. And collaboration is not me doing all the work. It's not you doing all the work. It's us working together, us both putting in on the work. All three of us putting in on the work, the entire team, the entire school community putting in on the work until it becomes a process of not only collaboration, but then it grows to what I call systemic collaboration, where it's all across the board throughout the school environment. So those are some ways that you try to get your people to commit to the process.
Yeah, I love that. And when you talked about the empowerment piece, I hear leaders that I'm talking to lately that we're coaching or mentoring talk about how a lot of the districts are moving towards more scripted type things, more district systematic things. And I'm not against, district systems, but I do know that when you try to make things so much alike, a lot of times it's not empowering to teachers because it takes that art form out of teaching. So my advice is always to leaders that as much as you can, because you have to follow the rules, whatever's being pushed down in some cases, however much you can shield your people and still encourage them and empower them, like you said, to still put their spin on it, still put your autonomy on it, because nobody knows those children like you do. You're in front of them every day. You know what careers they want to go into. You know how to connect what you have going on in your curriculum to how it's relevant to their lives. You're the one who knows how to connect to that background knowledge. So I don't want things like that to suck the life out of people. People throw their hands up and say, "Oh, that what am I going to do with this?" Because there's always still ways to be creative no matter what you do. No matter what anybody gives me, I'm still going to put my spin on it. I'm still going to show up authentically, Sheka. You're going to know it's me. You're going to know I was there. And so that's what leaders have to encourage and empower their teachers to do too. Put your spin on it. It doesn't matter if it's a scripted curriculum. You can still ad lib to the script.
And I think the thing, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt, Sheka, but I think the thing that we have to recognize is within any script, because the programs I think that they are having to make them more scripted, because we have a lot of people who are in classrooms now who they didn't even start out in any education program. So they really are learning pedagogical practices while they're learning content. And I think what happens, at least for me, I feel like, because I'm a very eclectic, like I have my own way of doing things, but I am a person who does believe that when I'm given something to do, like my school is not going to just run renegade and I'm just going to operate outside of what the expectations are for the district. However, when you take the time to study what it is they're telling you to implement and weigh that against what you need at your school, it's customizable. Like I think everything can be. I think you can just take the time to work with the people that are in the building, as you said before, Sheka, and make it something that authentically fits your space. Like it is the same. It's the same program that we're using at our sister school, but it may not look the same from class to class. And I think that is just a part of that process of being intentional about the way that we handle our business. And I saw that was a part of your visual, Dr. Griffin. Talk to us, if you don't mind, just a moment about the intentionality of things and how that level of intentionality can create shifts in mindsets along that education journey. Because I love that kind of is how you have built the base for the work that you're doing.
Thank you. First off, one of the things that leaders want to always ask themselves when dealing with issues of individuality, basically creativity, does it align with our goals and objectives?
Mm.
And if what you're doing aligns with the goals and objectives that we have established, then I may need to bag back just a little bit to empower you and allow you to do the job necessary. And that also goes along with leadership security.
Mm-hmm.
We have to be secure in what we bring to the table. Now, that does not mean, like you just said, Dr. Taylor, to let everything go rampant, but that does mean to allow room for growth, allow room for mistakes, because as leaders, it's our job to combat, correct, influence, and put people in positions where they can then proceed moving forward in a better way. So intentionality is the basis of everything. Everything has to have purpose. Everything has to have a deliberate function. And all of that is going to cater to you creating the mindset that you got to have in these schools with people, because people, especially when you're dealing with adults, and then we're trying to influence students, you got to understand that they come with their own experiences. They come with their own mindsets. They've been on their own journey, and many of them already have established purpose. So you got to keep all that in mind in order to influence them to have a shared vision. And that is the intentionality.
Yeah, I love that, Dr. Griffin, because we always say on our platform, we're in the people business before we're in anything else. And to the part where we're having to allow them to make mistakes, you have to be in there. I think first, you've got to make that statement. You got to be intentional about making the statement of still having the autonomy, because a lot of people, even though when things are rolled out from the district level, they're still looking at you to see what you're going to say about it as the principal of the building. Well, what are we going to do here? So they're looking at you to give them permission, and you have to give them that along with the rationale that we just stated and that why behind it. So that's why we always talk about that messaging is so important. But as far as allowing them to make mistakes, if you're not in there to see what they're doing, to give them feedback, you're not able to do that. So we've definitely got to make sure that we're also intentional about making the time to go in and give feedback. And I always tell leaders that we're working with, some weeks is not a critique week. Some weeks is going to be a tank filler week. We're going to go around and we're going to tell everybody everything they're doing right, because you really can't critique me if you don't have anything in the tank with me. And this is a people thing. This is not just a teacher thing. Nobody wants to hear a whole bunch of critiques from nobody, from your spouse, from your friends, from anybody, unless you got something invested with that person. So until you've built those relationships, until you got something in the tank, you can't really make any withdrawals from people.
And I love the whole when you were talking about how the staff is looking to see, like, what's your reaction, what you gonna do. And it's because you set the tone, like you said that before, as the instructional leader, as the culture leader, as the organizational leader, you're the one. Like it really all goes back to, all right, let me see how she's going to respond to this, because you've already told us that we can do what we need to do, and we have the autonomy to meet the needs of the children in our classroom. So what is this going to look like? And you know what? I do not react. I go back to what you said before, making sure that the goals for this organization, because what we have established here is that teaching and learning is going to take place within this space. These four walls, the space that we occupy, teaching and learning is going to happen. What does that sound like? That sounds like standards-based instruction. So when you can back up what you do in your classroom to the standards that I'm expecting you to teach, guess what I do? I step on back from it and let you go on and do your work. Now, I don't come in there messing with you unless you have not stepped up for me. Like, now, if you're not meeting these expectations that we have here, then maybe there are some parameters I'm gonna have to place around what's happening in your space so I can help you with what's going on. You're getting the results that you're supposed to get. You are seeing the growth that we're looking for these children. You know what I do? I let you do your thing because it is you who are in there getting the work done. So I do love the ideal of intentionality, because that's a part of what is preached at our school all the time. We have to be intentional. Sheka said this, I think, maybe last night when I was talking to her, maybe in the day before. But what we never have access to is more time. We only have the time that we have. We cannot waste that. You have to be intentional about that time, and you have to use the time to get done the work that needs to be done. And there is much more work than time. So, we have to be intentional about what we're doing and how we go about addressing those things.
Definitely. Time is of the essence.
Yes. And speaking of time, I'm going to put your next slide up here before we run out of time, Dr. Griffin. What did you want us to know about your resources?
Just the resources that go along with everything's aligned: educational leadership, books, Dip Approach for Educator Success Manual, Discipline Culture Plus Instructional Practice Equals Performance, and then the latest book, Empowering Educational Communities, a guide for teacher principal collaboration. This book is endorsed by our GOAT, Principal Kafele, as well. So definitely want to report on that. And then the cultural leadership pillar, we've got the SEL curriculum, Dip Approach for Student and Adult Success curriculum, as well as the reader, which is the guidebook. And I'm an English major, so I always integrate the arts. I've been doing it since about 6th grade, so I can't leave my poetry out with the Spirit, Heart, and Soul collection of poetry. And just quickly, that 3x3 sense framework, you'll notice subliminally, you got the pyramids, you've got the concept of 3, the power of 3 as well. So there's a lot of in-depth stuff in that. So I appreciate you all.
Oh, most definitely.
Thank you.
Everything, your work is phenomenal, Dr. Griffin, the books, your framework. If you would like to get in touch with Dr. Griffin, this is his information. We know that when we go back and watch this, there will be a number of speaks in the comments because he has really dropped some gems today and really shown us a phenomenal framework.
Absolutely.
Any closing remarks?
Just reach out if you all need any type of help. I'm in the empowerment business. I'm a collaboration specialist. I just want to be able to be in position to help. I've accomplished everything I can just about as a principal, administrator, what have you, but I want to help other people be in positions where they can be successful in their role also.
Absolutely.
Most definitely. Well, thank you all for tuning in to another episode of the R.E.A.L. Academy. We hope to see you next week, and we hope that something from today is something that definitely resonated with you. So remember, at Create and Educate, we create real spaces. Thank you.